Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we have a bunch of repairs to do. The Bandersnatch is going to be done long before the Epimetheus, so let's tick on forward here and get these repairs completed so that we can head out again. Sure, Succubus should definitely go to the simulators. She needs a lot of experience. So that looks good. We're going to continue to tick forward here until the Bandersnatch is fully completed. So that'll be 9 days in total. Yep, there's our last upgrade finishing up. That sounds good. And let's get the Bandersnatch finished. There we go. Now, I believe that the Crossbow X actually needs an additional repair. Or actually, no, it's the Grasshopper, not the Crossbow X. Okay, so we need to refit the Grasshopper here. I had misremembered which one took an internal hit, but we can just get that heatsink out of there and put in a new heatsink here, which will be this guy, and that'll take 2 days, 2,900. Okay, right. We can get that done. Let's tick forward the 2 days to get that completed. There we go. The Epimetheus Prime is now 38 days from completion, and hopefully we can deploy again this month tick, although I would not bet on it. If I had to bet on it, I would not. Let's hop into the barracks and see if we can get any training done. We can definitely get Dan some training here. That'll be fine. And what else do we have? Gorgon, a point of guts. Sounds good. Anybody else here? GV, a point of guts. Yep. Sounds okay. Anybody else? Yes, gunnery for Klist, actually. That is really solid. Very happy about that one. Guts for Plato. Most of these guts are fairly irrelevant for us, but we'll just get rid of them. We'll get it completed. And then Savarok here is getting promoted from substitute, but I don't think Squire is because of the affinities. We'll get to that. For the moment, Succubus can get a point of gunnery and can actually manage to get Bandit here. Although Focus Fire is -1 recoil, I am planning on making her be one of our pilots in a Demolisher. So actually, Focus Fire would work really well for her here. So we're going to take that. That'll be absolutely okay. And what else do we want? Well, that's it for now. So she is going to end up being our Devastator pilot. And the reason for that is she has 4 max injuries. Dan only has 3. And Squire, unfortunately, already has 3 affinities here. So he's going to remain a substitute, and that's the way that this is going to work. But Savarok, luckily, has Epimetheus and Bandersnatch affinities, so that'll work absolutely perfectly for us. Let's hop into the command center and see what mission we want to do.
Hey, Commander, pull up a chair.
What do we got? So this is a solo duel. This is a travel contract. I don't care about that. This is a defend base. This might be interesting. Who's the op for? Pirates. This is definitely interesting. Let's see what we get doing this here. Okay, we need to put the Bandersnatch in here, and that is going to end up being... We determined that that was going to be Savarok in the Bandersnatch. Dan and Squire are going to be our substitutes at this point. So our Devastator is going to go here with Succubus in the Devastator. Now, I want to get rid of our standard layout, and I want to save this layout as standard. So this is a new standard layout, kind of. I mean, we're going to be swapping the Bandersnatch for the Epimetheus when it's ready, but for the time being, this'll do. Darius thinks it'll be hard. That's a good sign. So I will see you guys after the loading screen. That is not the button I'm looking for. Let's try this one. There we go. So here we are, all loaded up, and apparently OBS forgot about the game briefly there, but no. We're good. We're good now. Fantastic. We are going to begin mission here, and let's see what we've got going on here.
Command interface.
This babysitting job is definitely going to heat up. Yes, obviously. So the question is, where is the Vanguard? Yeah. Where's that Vanguard at? Vanguard is right there. Okay, so spawning somewhere around here, actually, would be really, really good. So we could definitely spawn something like this. I'm just manually doing the spawns here so that we don't have people awkwardly on cliffs or whatever. But we can spawn like that, engage the Vanguard very quickly, and then move on to the actual threat. So that would be good. So we're dropping these guys in. There's, oh wow, there's a longbow standing right behind the Vanguard. Okay, that's exciting stuff. There's definitely an allied lance out over here, so this archer moves over. Yep, there's an archer, there's a heavy mortar carrier, large laser turret, LRM carrier. Yeah, that all seems very, very good. These guys down here are a marauder and an avatar, returning to power up the turrets. Heavy LRM turret, heavy AC turret, large laser turret, and where's that last turret? Light standard. Okay. Noted. So at this point, we're going to move our crossbow X a bit forward here. I'd like to get up into cover here. And this is cover. So we'll just position there for right now. Now we see that they have a Marauder, an Atlas, a Marauder, and a Corsair. That's relatively big. Okay, I'm just noting these armor counts right now. We definitely want to get in behind that Atlas and backstab that. So the Marauder C is closing in over here. That is expected. The Avatar is doing the same. Sounds great.
Waiting for orders.
Next up would be our Archer. The Archer does not have a good spot to move. I actually don't want to move the Archer yet.
Commander.
I want to move the Black Knight a bit forward, and we're going to get it as much evasive as we can. Out over here with 6 evasive. That'll do. So that's looking reasonably fine for the moment.
What can I do for you?
The Archer is able to get into cover here, which is exactly where I want it. Perfect. Heavy Mortar Carrier is moving in closer, and that Marauder closes up a bit too.
Ready for orders.
This Grasshopper definitely wants to move in and engage as close as it can, so we'll move in here. And then we've got our Rifleman, which it wants to take up this position in cover. We don't know where the other forces are going to come in at, though, and that's going to be potentially problematic. I'm going to reserve the crossbow here. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm just going to leave the crossbow exactly where it is. It's in a good spot.
Holding here.
Okay, so they have 2 Phase 19 movers. This will be the Marauder and the Corsair. Noted.
Receiving.
Our SPG is going to back off over this way
On the move.
and just take up this position in cover. And then this Corsair moves up. Looks fine for now.
Orders.
So our Marauder definitely wants to close in with the rest of our cavalry units down over here. Looks good.
Orders.
And then our Bandersnatch. Now, this is not in the same role as the Epimetheus. This is going to remain in a fire support position.
Receiving.
And the Nidhogg is going to accelerate out over this way.
On the
We're
move.
probably not going to burn bombs on this Vanguard, though.
I'm receiving you.
Probably not. So I'm going to take the Devastator out over here. I don't quite want it to have LOS.
Calling
So we're going to
ass.
position it there for the time being. They have one more mover here. That is that Atlas. Okay. Sounds good. So the Atlas is positioning there. I'm not sure that we managed to make it into rear arc of that Atlas this round. We'll see.
Calling
Gonna put the Devastator, the second Devastator, right here. Okay. Spawn protection has been removed. Now, Phase 22 is an allied unit. So that is going to be... I'm not sure what unit. Whatever it was, it didn't really move very much. The Marauder almost made it into the escort zone. I think that's 1 hex away from actually being inside. Next up is the Archer firing on that Atlas. This is firing on a side arc. That's not going to do a lot to that Atlas. Okay, so our crossbow can fire right now. It doesn't have direct LOS from where it's at. It would have to break cover in order to get direct LOS, so I don't really want to move it yet.
I hear ya.
The Archer, on the other hand, has direct LOS on this Marauder and on this Corsair. The Corsair has a lot of front arc there. It does have these rockets. Moves in Phase 15. I'm going to fire on the Marauder here, and I'm going to regret it. But we're definitely going to do this. Light him up. So structure exposure on that Marauder, that was pretty decent, all things considered. Okay, and then we don't want to actually fire the crossbow yet. I'm going to reserve that. Next up, we're going to be moving our Black Knight. Now, the Black Knight can get into position over here. I believe this is a charge. Yes, that is definitely a charge. So I would like to bring it up into cover somewhere. Here would be okay. And I want to
I'm
fire
walking here.
on that Marauder again, I feel like, although hit odds are way better on the Corsair. So I'm going to take the side arc on the Corsair, and we'll see what happens here. Quite a bit of side arc damage there. I like it. That's pretty solid. Okay, next up we have an allied unit moving, and that is going to be this heavy mortar carrier. Let's see where it decides to put its mortars. The Corsair. I like this choice. I think that's really solid. I like that decision a lot. So the Corsair is pretty weak in its armor at this point, and the Grasshopper can move up. This is not going to be in cover, but we can actually move up over here, and we can hit the Corsair from this weakened side arc and do potentially a crazy amount of damage to it. Let's do it. Get in there.
Rolling. Bam.
Nice melee attack. I like it. AC-20 ammo explosion into engine destruction. Beautiful. The Corsair's out of here. So next up is our Marauder. The Marauder can position right about here. We could fire on that Atlas. I don't think that's a good call necessarily. I would rather position closer to here
On the move.
and go for the Marauder. Even though hit odds are way better on the Atlas, we don't want to hit the front arc of the Atlas if we can avoid it. So I'm going to fire at the Marauder. We're mostly crit fishing here for inside of this leg. Let's see what happens. Not a lot is the answer. Okay. So next up is our Nidhogg, and the Nidhogg is going to advance as far as it can up over here. And we are going to position it about here. We're going to continue to fire on the Marauder. I'm not going to burn any ammo here. We're just going to fire the Snubnose.
Engaging.
Okay. A reasonable shot there. They're going to get to move the Marauder very soon. The Crossbow X moves next. This is a charge on the Atlas, right? Yes. So in that case, it's definitely going to be a melee attack on the Marauder. I want to do this from cover, so it's going to be a front arc melee, which is not ideal, but we'll see what we get done there.
Copy that.
Successful melee on that Marauder, and that'll make him unsteady.
Punch right through his armor.
Yeah, those weren't phenomenal crits, but it is a knockdown on the Marauder anyway. So that'll reserve him back to phase 8, and that means that our allies are probably going to focus fire on that Marauder. I would like it if he'd go for the rear arc on this Atlas, though, and that's indeed exactly what that longbow did. I would have hot-loaded the LRMs, though, to be honest, in that shot. I would have hot-loaded those LRMs. They could have easily destroyed the Atlas from that angle, in my opinion. So next up is that Marauder, and it's moving in behind the longbow, but it's actually going for the heavy mortar carrier. Okay, that seems fine. No problem there. Oh, this guy is gone from the knockdown. Beautiful.
Good to go.
So our crossbow doesn't have a direct LOS. We can position it here and fire on that Atlas. I don't like that choice, so I'm not going to take that. Our rifleman is basically in the same boat. I'm going to reserve here, and let's see what our ally does. So the Avatar moves up, goes for the front arc of the Atlas. I really don't like this choice. Atlases are not good targets to hit the front arc of. But let's see what it does here. It's going to fire its weaponry, and this could be potentially painful. We'll see what this is. Ooh, meleeing our Grasshopper. Successful melee there on that charge. Ow, that's going to hurt. A charging Atlas.
I'm wounded.
Actually, that's not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. No, that's reasonably okay. So our Bandersnatch is going to move up over here. We're going to make sure that this Atlas is unsteady. This is very, very clear firing here. No problem whatsoever. On its weak side. LRM ammo explosion and the Atlas is just gone. Okay, so that was unexpected. I was not expecting the Atlas to die to that shot, but we'll take it.
Heat.
This is
damage.
why we don't charge with mechs.
Commander.
Okay, so next up would be this Marauder, and I kind of don't want to put artillery into it since it's so close to the longbow, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's see what happens here.
Lighting them up.
A good shot. Maybe. There we go. Took it a moment, but that's fine. So next up would be the crossbow. I'm going to leave the crossbow where it's at. We're firing indirect at this Marauder. We're just trying to build up his instability right now. Okay, looks solid. Next up is our Devastator. The Devastator could position here, and this is actually a pretty good spot for it, really. We might stray shot the longbow, but let's see what happens here.
Target acquired.
A little bit of longbow stray shotting there, but a structure exposure on the Marauder and he's unsteady. We'll take it. Next up is going to be our Rifleman, which I don't think can make it to an LOS. No, I'm just going to move it out over this way because we don't know where the additional enemies are going to be. There's going to be additional enemies, period. So the Devastator, the other Devastator, is going to look to move up somewhere over here. This is some terrible LOS, actually. Out over here is also blocked by that longbow. It's just not great. I'm going to bring it down over here instead. Okay. Sadly, the turrets aren't online until next round. This archer firing on that Marauder, getting internal damage there. And just doing a lot of damage to it. Beautiful. That's exactly what we want to see. Next up is our Crossbow X, which is going to move up here, and we're going for the kill shot. So that Marauder is likely to die here.
All weapons are go. For House Arano.
It didn't happen,
As a lesson.
but that's probably a knockdown at any rate. So that'll reserve it back some amount. 13? I like it. That'll go much better then. I'm hoping for the allies to destroy it at this point. I'd like to not put additional resources into that. LRM carrier? Yeah, that could very easily do it. There we go. Fantastic. So the Vanguard is out of here. Next up, we need to determine where the additional enemies are going to be. We have no idea. The Grasshopper needs to stand up, though. And I'm just going to brace the Grasshopper. Now, Plato did take a lot of HP hits there. But we're just going to brace the Grasshopper and get it ready to go next round.
Good to go.
Okay, so the Archer is going to position around here. We don't know where these enemies are going to drop in from, so we'll see. For the time being, we just kind of want to get to cover and brace. So have some amount of evasive, be in cover, and be braced. That's the goal here. Next up would be our Black Knight, which can position right around here and brace. And we're just kind of trending towards running towards the base. The Bandersnatch is going to need to sink its heat. It does have a heat issue. And the Nidhogg is continuing to accelerate up, so I'm just going to put it about here. And we'll see where these enemies end up being.
Bracing for impact.
So the Avatar moves up. It doesn't quite get into position here. Oof. And the Marauder C didn't move.
Good to go.
Okay, that'll have to be a next round sort of thing.
Let's go.
No, I think it did move. I think it just didn't quite make it. Neither of them quite made it. That's sad, but we'll just put the Devastator here for now. And the SPG is just going to stay put. And let's see where these enemies are. Well, we still need to move our other Devastator. Okay, you can position somewhere around here or so.
Go into full throttle.
There we go. What do we got? So we exit combat. I'm going to tell everyone to brace.
Watching my heat gauge.
Okay. So now these guys did not move into the escort zone. They just stood there. Why? Move into the escort zone, please. That's very rude. They could have easily activated the turrets there, and they chose not to. Okay. Well, the next the next attack is about to start here. And there's probably 2 lances coming in. Okay, so we see units down over this way. That is a longbow. We see a Frankie, an Apollo, and a Hunchback. There's probably additional enemies that we don't yet see. So this LRM carrier, yeah, there they are up over here. So we see an Orion, a Roughneck, a Longbow, and a Corsair out over here.
How can I help?
Okay. So we're going to get our Cavalry Lance to come this way and deal with these guys. We're going to sprint our Crossbow X out this way.
Affirmative.
It doesn't get LOS yet. That's okay. Phase 23, that Roughneck. No, the Apollo. Okay, that's fine. Firing on the Nidhogg. Getting a lot of hits there because we braced the Nidhogg. I mean,
that was a big hit.
yeah.
Big hit.
Unfortunately, the Nidhogg doesn't get to move until phase 15. That rolled very unfortunately. So, Plato is bleeding out here. We're going to need to move the Grasshopper down this direction for the time being. And we'll see if we're able to rescue the Nidhogg. It is not in a great spot right now. I really wish our allies had spun up the turrets. That would have been awfully nice right now. So the Archer is not able to get LOS on anything in particular. We'll just position here because we know that one of these units, and that was the Apollo, actually moved. So we're going to drop indirect LRMs on this Apollo. Laser AMS noted. That's fine for now. That's a pretty effective laser AMS too. And the Bandersnatch can also head down this way. This is the only target to throw missiles at right now. And it sucks. Okay, 10% is not going to be good enough for this. We're going to have to brace as soon as the game gets caught up here. There we go. So next up is going to be... This Marauder still refused to move in. It just braced. The Frankie going for this Avatar. Okay. Maybe that'll trigger him into actually moving into the escort zone. That would be nice. But they're refusing to go into the escort zone for right now. Phase 18 is the next phase, and we see that they have one Phase 17 mover. It's not on this downside. Okay, they're firing on the Apollo with their longbow. I like this. Overwhelm that laser AMS. That is good. Okay, so they have an enemy mover up this way. We'll see who that is. That's the Roughneck. Firing at the Nidhogg. Reasonably expected there, to be honest. The Nidhogg needs to move, but we can't move it yet. It rolled quite far back. That said, looks like we're going to be able to move it fairly soon. Before any of these guys do, and before any of these, this guy might get to move first. We'll see. Okay, so the heavy mortar carrier moves up, firing on that Roughneck. I like this choice. That's a good location to drop some splash damage. Not the best location. I would have preferred it to drop on this Apollo, but it's fine. The Black Knight is going to head up over here, and I'd like to see some LOS over here. Yeah. So we're going to fire on this Roughneck. I'm going to fire the binary laser in X2 mode here. It's only a 56% hit chance. Okay, we hit one of those. So that Roughneck is weakening. Seems good. And next up, we get to move our Riflemen. And I'd like to not have the Riflemen be out of cover here, but maybe it'll be a distraction from the Nidhogg. That would not necessarily be a bad thing. So let's position it here, and what do we got? 74%? You know what? I'll take that. We may stray shot as well. So let's get this Apollo done.
Firing full weapon.
We only hit 1 out of 4 on 74% with stray shot? Wow. That was bad luck. Okay, well. Next up is our SPG, and the SPG is absolutely dropping artillery right on this Apollo. Light him up. Fantastic. So that's splash damage on all 4 of those mechs. I'd really like it if our turrets were online, to be clear. This guy just braced. These guys are stuck. That's not great. So the Hunchback moves up, and we'll see what he does. He goes for the Avatar. Okay. So that's fine. Next up is finally our Nidhogg getting to move. And I'm going to put the Nidhogg here.
On it.
I'm going to drop bombs and everything we have right on this Apollo. We're going to nuke these guys since they are all grouped together. Something like this.
Damn, let's do this.
Beautiful. So that was a huge amount of damage out on this side. I like it. If only we had turrets to follow that up with. Unfortunately, we do not, so our Marauder is going to need to head out this direction. It's not in a great spot to engage out over here, but we can sprint forward. And now they're going to get a couple of movers up over here. Wow, that frame rate is not doing well. Okay, so this Orion is reasonably fresh, and he'll move forward and fire almost certainly on our Black Knight. Actually, he's getting a side arc shot on our Archer indirect. Okay. I don't feel like that's as useful as it could have been. But sure. We'll take it. So next up is our crossbow. I would love to get our crossbow into direct fire LOS out over this way. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. We're going to put it up over here and fire on this Apollo. Probably in listen kill mode. Yeah, do it.
Affirmative.
That'll at least knock down the Apollo. And we know that this guy is where that laser AMS is, so I'd really like to get that eliminated. Okay, so next up in phase 14 is going to be this longbow. He's taken a lot of damage. He's not going to survive much longer, and that's very, very good. We're going to have this cleaned up pretty quickly. So the longbow moves up and does what? Going for a Devastator indirect? I feel like that didn't do very much, to be honest.
Reporting minimal damage.
Indeed. Okay, so next up is a phase 13 mover. That's probably someone up over here. Wow, these frame rates are not doing well. Okay. The longbow is going to step slightly sideways and attack the side arc on our crossbow, doing very little overall damage. I mean, it builds up a bunch of instability, but that doesn't really matter.
Holding.
Indeed. So that's okay for now. Phase 12, possibly this Corsair. Probably the Corsair, to be honest. What's it gonna do? Same sort of attack. Okay. I don't like that. I don't think that's good for them.
Holding firm.
Okay, now it's finally our turn, but it's also time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to wrap this up. It should go reasonably quickly. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kentogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.